Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of NASCAR Heat 3 Career Mode. Today we go to Texas in the Cup Series. There was an Xfinity race, but I had a slight issue where I messed up the recording, so you're going to see at least the playoff grid after that. So William Byron, shows my name, but Byron is 6 points out going into ISM Raceway if he wants to make it to the Final Four. And obviously on the Cup Series side, we're already locked into the Final Four, so no pressure at all coming in to Texas today as we came through turns 3 and turns 4 on our qualifying lap. Just trying to make it through Texas and ISM without any issues. Now as we come down the front straightaway, would come through to cross the line to get P12 here with a 29.230. So a little bit of work to do to get our way towards the front, but hopefully we have the speed to get up there. So let's get ready to go green here for the second race of the round of 8 at Texas Motor Speedway.
Today, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series thunders back to Texas and Texas Motor Speedway for the running of the AAA Texas 500. They say everything's bigger in Texas. For our remaining playoff contenders, that saying holds especially true as the stakes today don't get any bigger. In 2017, Kevin Harvick punched his ticket to the championship race by way of a thrilling victory here in the Lone Star State. Who will master this 1.5-mile asphalt speedway today? The green flag is in the air, so let's go racing on PRN.
Alright, we're ready to go green here for the AAA Texas 500 at Texas Motor Speedway. Martin Truex Jr. didn't have a good practice session. That team knows they can do better. Ryan Newman had an engine change after qualifying, so he will be starting at the back of the field. And those are your two notes coming in to this race here at Texas as we get ready to go green from the 12th starting position alongside our teammate of Chase Elliott. Now as the green flag is out, and we are underway here in Texas. Jimmy Johnson's third final race of his NASCAR Cup Series career before we take over his car next season here as we go down towards turns 1 and turns 2. Kevin Harvick leads the way over second place of Kyle Busch, moving through to pass Aric Almirola. Last episode, Kyle Busch had major issues towards the end of Martinsville, now putting him outside of the Final Four when he's been one of the title favorites all season long. So certainly Kyle Busch has some work to do, and he needs a great race today in Texas if he wants a chance going into ISM Raceway. Now as we come through turns 3 and turns 4 on the outside of Paul Menard there in the 21 cars, we fade back into line behind him and immediately have an opportunity to get down to that bottom. So obviously I'm going to hop on that opportunity as we go down into turns 1 under the 21 of Menard, just about getting into the back of our teammate of Alex Bowman. Texas is certainly one of the more frustrating mile-and-a-half tracks on the schedule, at least the New Texas is, because it's really just a one-groove track. You have to use the bottom. If you make the top work, then you must be some type of legend, because every time I go up to the top, I cannot make it work for the life of me. But obviously the bottom line working very early here in Texas as we look to the inside now of Clint Boyer as we will come across the line, completing that second lap now as we are closing in on the top 10 position, getting into the side of Boyer there just for a brief moment as we came through turns 1 and turns 2, clearing Boyer, and we would also get ahead of Kyle Larson and move up to P10. And we would pass Ryan Blaney and get another spot to get up to P8 as we came to about lap 11. Now we had driven away from Blaney, Larson, and the cars behind us, and we had gotten up with this group here of Keselowski, Almirola, Logano, Harvick, and other drivers. Kyle Busch at this point had taken the lead here in Texas, and he was driving away with the lead there as we crossed the line on the inside of Brad Keselowski as we go down towards turns 1 as we came through on the back straightaway. Now in turn 3, looking down to the inside of Aric Almirola, we got past Logano, Jones, and now Almirola as we come through turns 3 and turn 4. Almirola going to keep up the fight though as we head down the front straightaway, coming through the triangle, crossing the line side by side with the Smithfield Ford driver as we go down into turns 1. Almirola eliminated in that first round of the playoffs as usual in our career mode. He never can seem to make it past that first round. I think he got past the round of 16 one time in our career mode now, and as we came to a few laps later, sitting in P3 now behind Chase Elliott here on lap 17 of 20 in stage 1. We're going to look to the inside of Chase Elliott as we go down into turn 3, and we're going to take over the second position here in Texas. So a great start to this race now in this first stage as we slide up in front of the 9 of Elliott and hold on to P2, and we would be able to hold on there for a moment as we came to about the white flag now though. Aric Almirola, he would catch me off guard and get to my inside as we went down towards turns 1 and turns 2 on this final lap in the stage, now knowing I'm in a bit of trouble here because on the outside, like I said, you can't do anything as we were just in survival mode on this last lap as we head down the back straightaway for the final time here in Texas in stage 1. Almirola up in P2, Joey Logano on the inside trying to take over third as Eric Jones is also coming through to try and take over that 4th spot from myself. But more importantly, up ahead, Kyle Busch is going to come through to win stage 1, and we're going to get edged up by Jones across the line as it looked like we made a little bit of contact with him to get P5 here in stage 1. So a solid result considering we started down in 12th, so I was very happy with that. We would come to pit road to take 2 cans of fuel and 4 tires, and I said last episode at the end, Kyle Busch is going to need a great run in Texas if he wants a chance at the Final Four, and here he is now, leading the first stage, winning the first stage, dominating it really the last half, and now he has a chance to maybe do the same here in stage 2. Is ready to go green once again now, and stage 2 is underway here in Texas, and we are going now. Almirola and Busch on the front row, Logano and Jones on the second row is going to give the 22 just a little bit of a tap to the bumper as we head down towards turns 1, looking to the inside of the 20 of Eric Jones. Obviously, Jones hasn't been happy with me lately. We had a run in earlier this season, and things got close to being a rivalry, and it looks like things are closing in once again with Jones on being a rivalry now as we go down the back straightaway. Obviously, we drove the 20 car last season and won a championship in that car. Now Jones is trying to do the same thing as he has been very strong in this last half of the season, looking to be a potential favorite really to make it to the Final Four and have a chance at a championship here in our career mode. Now as we cross the line to complete the first lap in the second stage here in Texas, Kyle Busch continuing to lead over second and third place of Joey Logano and Eric Almirola, but Almirola moves up the track, allowing me to look to the inside as we come through on the exit of turn 2, trying to take over that third position as we go down the back straightaway side by side with the number 10 cars to go down into turn 3. Logano all over the back of Kyle Busch as we're going to clear Almirola there and take over the third position as we exit turn 4. And I would kind of get stuck in third after this now as it came to lap 11. Myself, Logano, and Kyle Busch had driven away from the cars behind us, and it was just a 3-car battle right here as we go through turns 1 and turns 2 on this 12th lap in the second stage. At this point, just holding on because I was having a tough time making something happen, getting a chance to pass Logano there as I look to the inside of him, and then I stay in line knowing that I don't really want to start much of a battle right now as we go down into turn 3. So I was just kind of sitting here in the third position for the rest of this second stage at this point. So certainly nothing going on now as we came to 2 to go in the stage, approaching the final lap here in stage 2. Kyle Busch still first, Logano still second, and myself still right here behind them in P3. No one else behind us is nowhere to be found now as we just continue to just drive away from 4th on back now as this final lap is underway here in stage 2. Logano maybe trying to make a move on Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch knowing he needs every point he can get now as we come through turns 1 and turns 2 on this final lap in the second stage. As we head down the back straightaway behind us, you see Jones leads that next group of cars in that 4th position as we push Logano going down into turn 3 for the final time here in the second stage, trying to look up to the top just a little bit of Logano, but obviously it doesn't work as we come out of turn 4. Kyle Busch is going to come through to sweep the first 2 stages here in Texas, and we come through to get P3 in the second stage as well. So Kyle Busch, a great effort so far in stage 1 and 2, and if he can put this final stage together, who knows what could happen here for the 18 of Kyle Busch. Maybe he could punch his ticket today into the Final Four, but we would come to pit road again and take 2 cans of fuel and 4 tires, and if it stays green in this final stage, we will have a green flag pit stop. So we're going to see if that certainly happens. Might get interesting here as we get ready to go green for potentially the final time in Texas. Now as the green flag is up, Kyle Busch leads the way here for the start of the third and final stage. Behind us we got Chase Elliott, our Hendrick Motorsports teammate, on our back bumper as we go down towards turns 1. Right behind that 18 of Kyle Busch, trying to get ahead of Joey Logano if possible. Now as we come through turns 1 and turns 2, Logano just about got cleared by myself, but he stays on my outside, and he's going to use that momentum to his advantage as we go down the back straightaway. Losing the second spot there to Logano. We only had it for a brief moment there as we make a little bit of contact looking to his inside in turn 3 and turn 4. Behind us, Elliott and Jones battle side by side, trying my best to make sure none of them get to my inside there as he would cross that line. Now as he came to the back straightaway on lap 47, still right in behind Joey Logano. Elliott had gotten clear for that 4th position behind us at this point as we come through turns 3 and turns 4, just setting a pretty decent pace with the tire where it wasn't as bad in stage 2 and stage 1 as I was expecting, but certainly in this final stage is definitely going to be coming to play, I'm sure, now as we hit 37 laps I think it was to go in this race here in Texas. Still the same running order as earlier from 1st to 3rd here in Texas as we go down the back straightaway. And as we came to a few laps later here on lap 50, still behind the 22 of Logano, we would end up getting a caution now with 35 laps to go here in Texas. No one was pitting, and so obviously I'm going to stay out with everybody thinking that we're probably not going to make it still if we pit at this point, as it looks like Parker Kligerman was the reason for the caution here as we get ready to go green here with about 30 or so laps to go. Now Kyle Busch continues to lead the way as we're back underway here in Texas on the back bumper now of the 18 of Kyle Busch. On the inside of Joey Logano, we're going to give Busch a big shove as we go down towards turns 1, trying to clear the 22 of Joey Logano. Behind us, we got Brad Keselowski and the number 2 Ford Mustang there as we exit turn 2. Logano, though, he's going to build up the momentum once again on the outside as we're going to battle side by side down the back straightaway here in Texas with 32 laps to go as we go down into turns 3 and turns 4 on the inside there of Joey Logano. A little bit of contact is made now as we come through the center of turns 3 and turns 4. Now on the exit of the corner, Kyle Busch in command once again as we cross the line behind that 22. 31 laps remain here in Texas, just trying to stick with the 18 and the 22, but obviously the further we go, the more my tires are wearing, so I knew I didn't have a lot of time left to make something happen there as we make contact with the 22 of Logano. Hang on to the car, though, thankfully, down the back straightaways. Keselowski moves up into that 4th position behind me, and Jimmy Johnson, our other Hendrick Motorsports teammate, in his final race at Texas, has moved into P5 now as we head down the front straightaway, and as we came through on lap 55, unfortunately, Keselowski found a way to my inside as we went through turns 3 and turns 4, and he's going to come through to take over 3rd, and now Jimmy Johnson and Eric Jones are going to come through as well, trying to take over a couple more positions as we cross the line with 29 to go. Obviously, being on the top, I had no choice but to wait for Jones to get clear and drop in behind him, and we would do just that now, and as we came down to lap 58, Jones looking to the inside of Joey Logano, and I'm just going to follow through as you briefly touch Jones in the back bumper there as we're going to get ahead of the 22 of Logano's to go down the back straightaway, but he's going to try and fight back as we head down towards turn 3. Keselowski now up to P2, Johnson up to 3rd, Jones 4th as we clear the 22 of Logano, and as we came down to lap 61, now looking to the inside of Eric Jones. A nice little battle here shaping up between myself and Eric Jones, who is, we've not certainly been happy with each other recently now as we're going to go down into turn 3 on his inside. Jones fighting to get into the final 4 here in Texas as we come through turn 3 and turn 4. He's going to fight right on the outside of me, not giving me much room at all as we come down the front straightaway through the trial. With Jones not giving much room at all as we go down towards turns 1. He is clear for the moment, but we're going to stick it back up the inside here as we come through turns 1 and turns 2. Tight on his door there as he is right there on my right rear as we come out of turn 2, heading down the back straightaway, nearly making contact with the 20 car as we go down towards turn 3, trying to side draft him just a little bit as we go down into that 3rd corner, and finally we find the speed to clear Eric Jones. We then would be able to run down our Hendrick Motorsports teammate Jimmy Johnson. As you see up ahead, though, Keselowski passing Kyle Busch for the lead, but at this point I was just riding behind the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, trying to help him and push him forward to see if we can maybe get him a chance at victory here with 18 to go in Texas now as we go through turns 1 and turns 2. Keselowski is now clear for the lead here in Texas as we exit turn 2, right on the back of our teammate Johnson now as we came to lap 67, still behind Johnson as we go down into turn 3, trying to help him the best we can, but we hit him in the bumper, and sideways we go now as we make contact with the 22, and into the wall hard we go here in Texas in turns 4, and the caution's gonna come out now as we pick up some damage on the right side, 2 seconds worth of damage. Everyone's pitting, so obviously we come to pit road to repair the car, and we drop down to P28 now for the potentially final restart here in Texas. That incident was 100% my fault. I drove into turn 3 and just touched the 48 in the back bumper a little too hard. He kind of checked out more than I was expecting there, and as soon as I hit him, the car just kicked out from under me. I tried to save it. Logano was coming through. I was sliding down. Obviously, Logano really couldn't do much, and I couldn't do much either, unfortunately. But thankfully, we only had 2 seconds of damage. We're still in this race here on lap 71 of 84, so certainly not a lot of time, but we can definitely get up towards the top 10, I think, still here in Texas. And as we came through, flying through the laps, flying through the field as well, within the lap or so, we had gotten up to P24 here as we went down the back straightaway into turn 3, looking to the inside of the 34 McDowell, continuing to slice and dice through everybody now as we got to the bank of Suarez, and we continued moving forward now up to 17th here as we cross the line with 10 to go. Elliott on my outside, he's trying to get the best finish possible as he tries to make it to the final 4 as we go down into turns 1, clearing him and Denny Hamlin. Looking to the inside now, Kevin Harvick, a little bit of contact made there on the exit of turn 2, but continuing, like I said, to move forward as we were closing in on a top 10 position. Surprisingly enough, I didn't know if there was enough time originally, but it certainly looks like there is now as we came to lap 77, right on the back bumper now, 10th place of Kurt Busch on the inside of Eric Almirola. Now as we look to the inside, just about the one car of Kurt Busch, trying to get to his left rear down the front straightaway, crossing the line with 7 to go at this point here in Texas. A little bit of contact made, but we move up into that 10th position over Kurt Busch now as we come through turns 1 and turn 2. We would also pass Clint Boyer and take over P9 and run down this next group of cars here with just 2 laps to go at this point behind Ryan Newman, Jamie McMurray, Logano, Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson all in this little group up ahead. Brad Keselowski leads the way. Jimmy Johnson sits P2 with third place of Eric Jones right on his back bumper. So it doesn't look like Jimmy Johnson is going to get a win today here in Texas as we go down the back straightaway into turn 3, approaching the final lap. Now going to make a 3 wide up the middle with Logano and McMurray. A very bold move there indeed. They aren't playoff drivers, so I said why not. Now as we go down the front straightaway, still in the middle of a 3 wide with Logano and Newman, and somehow we hanging on to it without crashing there as we have to get out of the throttle on this final lap here in turns 1 now through the center of turns 1 and turns 2 for the final time here in Texas. Now as we're going to run the 22 up the track, trying to clear him. Very aggressive here on this final lap as you go down the back straightaway for the final time. Brad Keselowski recently eliminated from the playoffs, and now he comes through turns 3 and turns 4 for the final time. Brad Keselowski is going to go down the front straightaway. He is going to win in Texas as we're going to come through to get edged out there just barely by Joey Logano to finish in the 9th position. Who knows what we could have done there if we didn't cause that earlier caution. Unfortunate that it happened, but our teammate Jimmy Johnson gets P2. We still get a top 10, so obviously this race in ISM Raceway, like I said, it's really a wreck it or win it type deal. We are already locked in the final 4. But now you see the playoff grid. Harvick 51 to the good, so he's pretty much locked in to the final 4, but now Chase Elliott, Eric Jones, right through to Kurt Busch, still realistically all could battle it out here for a final 4 position. So ISM Raceway is shaping up to be an incredible battle for those guys. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here at ISM Raceway. Any one of those guys from 3rd to 7th could get in easily. The guy in 8th, I forget who it was, but whoever it was, certainly looks like they're going to have to win their way in to the final 4. But as always, if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Those would all be very appreciated. Chase Elliott, he's certainly surprisingly a friend of mine now, as Joey Logano, also a good friend in the career mode. Eric Jones, though, not very happy, saying we should be suspended. I kind of thought, do I want to provoke him or apologize? I decided we're going to provoke him, and now he is only 1 bar away from being a rival. So Jones very angry with us, to say the least. So hopefully we don't get a rivalry with him. It would be certainly an interesting storyline if Jones is a rival with us and he makes the final 4. That would make for one heck of a Homestead Miami race, I'm sure. So we'll see how that goes. But there you see the playoff grid one more time. It's Truex who is likely going to have to win his way in. So I'll see you guys in the next episode where we decide the 4 drivers that will battle it out in Homestead. So thank you for watching, everybody, and have yourselves a great day.